heartiest welcome. We have Ramachandra, Mr. Ramachandra Wani. We have Muhammad Zaibullah Khan. Good evening, sir. Where are you from? We have a lot of people joining in. We have Mr. Stephen Jairaj. We have people joining in from Malaysia, Chennai, Tamil Nadu, from Meghalaya. Wonderful. Okay, so a lot of people are joining in, and we are going to begin with our webinar in a very short while. So before I do that, yes. Oh, very interesting. All right. So everyone is joining pretty fast. I may not be able to read out everyone's profile, but heartiest welcome to everyone. We shall begin very shortly. We have Mr. Sidraya Shinde from Maharashtra. We have Mr. Ramachandra Wani. We have Ms. Shikha Tiwari from Amity, Lucknow. Heartiest welcome. We have Garima Atriwal from Delhi. Muhammad Zabiullah Khan from Karnataka. Okay, we have Mr. Stephen Jairaj from Tamil Nadu. People are joining in from all parts of India and the world. So good to see you all. We have Ms. Priyanka Mishra from Bhubaneswar, from Assam. Dr. Nabamita Das from ADBU, Assam. Okay. So I'm from Guwahati, Assam as well. Hello, ma'am. Yeah, but I'm residing in Kolkata now. My roots lie in Assam. Oh, we have Shrima ma'am here from IEM, Newtown, a very senior and respected colleague of mine. Welcome, Shrima ma'am. Could you all just respond and say if my voice is audible? Is it breaking? Is it better now? Could I have a yes, no on the chat box? Yes, okay, I have some thumbs up and some thumbs down. All right, Bhagavati Jadhav. Yes, am I? Yes, okay. Okay. All right. Yeah. All right. Namaste and a very good evening to all the honorable ELTAI members and the participants in this webinar. Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you all to the 123rd webinar hosted by the English Language Teachers Association of India, ELTAI, on the topic Interdisciplinary Approach to Language Teaching. I'm your host for today, and my name is Bonani Chakraborty from the ELTAI Kolkata chapter. It's my pleasure to have you all here with us. Okay, before we dive into today's engaging topic, let's take a moment to get acquainted with the vibrant world of ELTAI. For those of you who are new to our community or simply need a refresher, we have a brief video to showcase some of the incredible activities and initiatives ELTAI is involved in. Can we have the video now? I think more people are joining in. Okay, so please remember that after the webinar, we will be, after the sessions, in fact, you may ask questions, which you may write in the chat box, and our honorable speaker will be answering them for you. Also, do remember to sign the feedback form, and which will be shared in the chat box. And if you have any queries, of course, you will write in the chat box itself. Yes, the certificates will be issued only to school, UG and PG students, ELTAI members, and foreign nationals. We have Dr. Suresh Chimata from Kerala, currently working in MITS Madanapalle. Good evening, sir, and welcome to our webinar. We have Pritha VK from Bangalore. Okay. We have a lot of people joining from Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Chennai, Bangalore, Gurgaon. We have Beena Kulangara from the Sultanate of Oman. Heartiest welcome. All right, I think we are ready to start with a video to give you a taste of the various activities and initiatives with which ELTAI engages. Some of you who have joined right now, we'll just play a video here. Have a look. It's refreshing, remembrance and a refresher to all ELTAI members, and for the ones who haven't yet joined the community, it's a great opportunity to know more about ELTAI. So can we have the video now, please? Okay, so that was inspiring, isn't it? Now, ELTAI's commitment to empowering English language educators across India is truly commendable. We hope you'll consider becoming a part of this dynamic association if you haven't already. Before I reveal our presenter's identity, let's make this interactive. But before that, I find that some people have raised their hand. Um, there's sorry. Yes, could you please write down your queries on the chat box? Somehow this is not opening. All right. So before I reveal our presenter's identity, I was thinking of just making this webinar a little more interactive and just getting into the the feel, the vibe, and warming up. So I would request all the participants here to write down a line or two about your notions regarding interdisciplinary approach to teaching. I would read out some of them to, but I may not be able to read out all the responses, but I would definitely love to read them. Dr. Jyotsna Sood says, Sorry for joining late. There was a connectivity issue. No problem, ma'am. Welcome. Okay. Mr. Jagdeep Panchal says, for me, using content from other subjects to teach English. Okay. RVG says, including other disciplines into the target discipline. All right. Project-based experiential learning, says Dr. Sumana Bandyopadhyay. Okay. All right. So people are already, coming with certain views about interdisciplinary approach to teaching. And our honorable speaker will be sharing valuable insights into it. Okay. Sulabha Shidhe says, avoids watertight compartments of subjects. Okay, yes. Creating situations relevant to the stream that we are teaching, says Rekha Bhatt. Dr. Deepa Venkataraman says, combining different domain like NLP with data science and English language. All right, experiential teaching. It is the need of the hour, says Santa Christina J. All right, so we have a lot of responses. So yes, people are very geared up for this enriching webinar on this very insightful topic. Now, before I hand over this session to our esteemed moderator, let me introduce our moderator who will be moderating this webinar and offer her expert opinion at the end of this session. So we have with us today, as the moderator of this engaging session, Professor N.Usha. Professor N.Usha teaches in the Department of English, Krishna University, and is the Director of Research and Development at Krishna University, a state government university in Machilipatnam, Andhra Pradesh, India. Educated at Central University, Pondicherry, her major research interests are comparative studies, literature of the Indian diaspora, and translation. She has published extensively in these areas and also translated Telugu literature into English. She balances teaching, research, and administration. Earlier, she was the principal of the University Campus College and the registrar of Krishna University. She guided 11 research scholars and presented research papers in 63 national and international conferences in India, Sri Lanka, and the USA. She edited 4 books and published 11 textbooks on English language and literature. As a yoga enthusiast and master trainer in human values and professional ethics, she actively supports lifelong learning and environmental ethics. So now, without further ado, let me hand over the session to our moderator for today. Over to you, Usha ma'am.
Thank you, Bonani Chakraborty. I'm very happy to be part of ELTAI. Am I audible to you all?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Yeah. Now I would like to introduce our speaker for today, Dr. Vaishali Jundre. She is a professional with 25 years of experience in academics and education management. She has administered systems and processes to bring in structural and functional stability. She has also contributed in educational initiatives, activities, convening conferences, executing international projects, and industry academia collaborations. Her focus is to lead an all-inclusive and holistic student development through curricular and extracurricular activities and events. She has also accomplished 2 international projects, and she has a decade-long experience as a team leader of Cambridge English exams and deputy exams center manager for the same. Right now, she is the director of the School of International Disciplinary Science at the Symbiosis Skills and Professional University, Pune. Madam has also served as the head of the Department of Students' Welfare at this university. For 15 years, she has contributed immensely as the Deputy Director of English Language Teaching Institute of Symbiosis, which is also called as ELTIS, and Symbiosis Institute of Foreign and Indian Languages, SIFL, under Symbiosis University. She was also responsible for many academic initiatives, curriculum planning, development, material generation and development, exams and assessments, and curricular, co-curricular, and extracurricular activities, teacher recruitment, selection, training, and so on. She also handled diverse student population, including Indian as well as international students. She worked as a language expert in textbook development project called MSBTE. She has translated 3 non-academic books from English to Marathi and from Marathi to English for prestigious companies in Pune. She authored a book on English grammar for better communication, and she is also in the process of publishing many journals. So, with this short introduction, I welcome Dr. Vaishali Jundre to this webinar. Over to you, ma'am. Can you please switch
Yes,
on your mic?
thank you very much, Dr. Usha. It is certainly a pleasure today to be with ELTAI and present a webinar on an interesting topic, interdisciplinary approach to language teaching. Good evening to everybody from India and abroad. Thank you for making it to this webinar. I really hope that it is of some use to you, and I look forward to an interaction with you at the end. Well, to start with, when I was thinking about this topic and how to start, communicating with you, interacting with you today, I stumbled upon two proverbs, rather quotations, and they read, "To learn a language is to have one more window from which to look at the world," says one. And the other quotation reads, "Learning a language is to learn another way to think about things." I thought these two are very relevant to today's topic, which is interdisciplinary approach to language teaching. Because indeed, languages open a vista of experiences to us. And for a language teacher, I think the world is limitless. I mean, we have such unlimited boundaries to work upon, to look into, and bring them into our classrooms as language teachers. And so, as teachers, all of us aim at giving our students learning experiences that could make them capable and competent in all ways. We plan our lessons with an aim to expand their horizons and abilities. At this moment, I'd like to share my PowerPoint with you, and we start. Is it visible to everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Is the PowerPoint visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, thank you. So as we go ahead with this topic, let me just begin by saying that all of us as teachers are keen on bringing live examples and real life situations into our classrooms. And language teaching gives us every opportunity to do so. Because educational experiences, the more authentic they are, the more value they bring to the students' lives and experiences. And the ultimate aim of every class is to give them a multifaceted understanding about what learning is and what learning would make them in the actual life. When we talk about teaching and learning of languages, we understand that language teaching has evolved over many years. May it be English or a foreign language or any regional language. Having multilingual capacities is always a strength and will always remain to be a strong aspect of everybody's personality. Therefore, today, the NEP has also emphasized the same. Language is an all-encompassing phenomenon. Everything under the sky can be a subject matter of a language class. Hence, Planning a language class is a very interesting, responsible, and challenging exercise. It can take the learner beyond disciplines and aim at holistic development. As you see, the points mentioned on the slide say that language learning starts from acquisition to applying it to various purposes. Finally, of course, the ability to think and solve problems is something that we aim at as higher skills of language. And therefore, let me take you to the 21st century skills. Today we talk about STEM. Everybody is talking about science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Apart from this domain knowledge, education is supposed to inculcate these 21st century skills in the students. The foundational literacies, like the ones mentioned on the slide, are a must. I mean, everybody should be capable of these basics. But apart from which, competencies and character qualities are something that are an integral part of learning and grooming of a student. And the teacher is not only responsible to make her students capable of the foundational literacies, but also is responsible to bring in these aspects to make them more capable and competent as professionals in their lives to come. All these skills can be practiced well only with the help of excellent language proficiency, soft skills, and life skills. Language can bring in all disciplines and instigate thinking skills in its students. And therefore, with 21st century skills, what matters other than the domain knowledge is proficiency in language. Hence, today we are going to talk about the interdisciplinary approach to language teaching. Let us understand what interdisciplinary approach means. Like you can read on the slide, let me read it for you. Interdisciplinary, a knowledge view and curriculum approach that consciously applies methodology and language from more than one discipline to examine a central theme topic, an issue, a problem, or work. So we can understand that this is a view which brings in and is applied to more than one disciplines. What is interdisciplinary teaching? Well, it is all about educational experiences. What kind of knowledge we bring into the classroom, going beyond a particular discipline, trying to inspire our students to apply their minds to different areas that influence the main domain specific discipline, trying to question and also integrate different disciplines into the main topic and broaden the perspectives of our learning, applying, questioning, uh, debating, arguing, and building upon our understanding is everything that goes hand in hand with this approach, which is called interdisciplinary teaching approach. Now, before I talk more about why we should experiment with interdisciplinary teaching, let us watch this video. Please tell me if you can. I'm sorry, can you see the video?
No, ma'am.
Oh, okay. Let me once again try. Give me a minute. Okay. Okay. I don't know why I can't show you the video. Just give me a minute, please. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
You can hear me, but you can't hear and watch the video, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I have hyperlinked it. I don't know why it is not showing. Just give me a minute again.
Ma'am, maybe you can send the link to Mr. Kevin.
Yeah, just hold on. I'll just try to do it once more. I'll open another tab.
Okay.
Ma'am, I will start in just a minute. I will start the tab.
I'll try to open another tab.
Is my screen visible?
Can you see it now? Can you see it now?
Any chance of tackling them properly, really? Because climate change is the most obvious at the moment.
Ma'am.
Ma'am, I have already played the video.
Why is the audio gone now?
This is not just a technical problem. This is an economic problem, a human behavior problem, a political problem. There's this phrase, to a person with a hammer, everything looks like a nail. If you just take a narrow disciplinary perspective, you're likely to make some very basic mistakes because you haven't taken multiple perspectives on the issue. So the future for interdisciplinarity is actually open, it's necessary, urgent. Everyone's talking about it, but it's still new and it's exciting. How do we use the affordances of the modern world, amazing tools the internet's given us, and how do we apply that to solving complex real world problems? That's
Oh, can you hear it?
Yeah, I think the video is paused, ma'am.
It's not paused. It's playing. It's going on at my end. Can you see it?
No, ma'am. It has paused.
What is this? Give me a minute. Okay.
Ma'am, can I share from my end?
Okay.
Vaishali, ma'am.
Yes. Can you hear
Can I
me?
share from my end, ma'am?
Sorry.
I'm coming from ELTAI. I'm coming from ELTAI, ma'am. Can I share from my end?
I can't hear you.
Ma'am, Mr.
I don't-
Kevin wants to play the video. Can you stop
Okay.
sharing it so that he can play it?
I have stopped sharing it.
Okay. Mr. Kevin, please go ahead.
Is the screen visible, ma'am?
Not yet.
tackle complex problems such as inequality, sustainability, AI and ethics, education. Big complex problems naturally require more than one disciplinary perspective, to give you any chance of tackling them properly, really. Perhaps climate change is the most obvious at the moment. This is not just a technical problem. This is an economic problem, a human behavior problem, a political problem. There's this phrase, to a person with a hammer, everything looks like a nail. If you just take a narrow disciplinary perspective, and you're likely to make some very basic mistakes because you haven't taken multiple perspectives on the issue. So the future for interdisciplinarity is actually open, it's necessary, urgent, everyone's talking about it, but it's still new, and that's exciting. How do we use the affordances of the modern world, the amazing tools the internet's given us, and how do we apply that to solving complex real world problems? That's the interdisciplinary challenge, and that's what we want to do at LAS.
Yeah, thank you, Kavin. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, going back to my PowerPoint. Why is it not? Can you see the slide?
Yes, ma'am. Make it full screen, ma'am.
Yes, yes. Okay.
Yes.
So, when we watched the video, we understood that it is not about only one discipline. When Bonani invited interests about understanding of what interdisciplinary teaching or learning was, some people did say that it was project-based experiential learning, or using content from other subjects to teach English. So these were kind of correct answers, but the more appropriate approach towards interdisciplinary teaching learning is about bringing in other disciplines into the classroom. So even if our focus is language teaching, we bring in a lot of other things by understanding, first of all, the diverse backgrounds, the cultures, and the knowledge base that our learners bring in, the educational focus that they have, and what alternative views can they have about some topic. So in which ways we bring in alternate views. We invite their opinions about the topic, and then we invite a discussion which can bring in various perspectives. So interdisciplinary is not only about bringing other content into a language teaching class, but probably having the language bring in a lot of other thinking processes and perspectives to the topic. For example, in the video, you saw him give an example of climate change. So if we are talking about climate change, we bring in a lot more aspects of climate change into the classroom for discussion, and not only discussion, probably a solution also towards something that can make it helpful for the society. Finally, it talks about significant learning. It promotes significant learning that fosters application of knowledge. I would like you to understand what is significant learning. Normally, when we talk about teaching and learning, we talk about Bloom's taxonomy. We've been using it forever as teachers. And when I was studying about interdisciplinary approach, the Fink's taxonomy of significant learning is something that, attracted my attention. And it talks about not only understanding and remembering concepts, but it talks about building core competencies on the one hand, plus fostering deeper understanding about concepts, about information and ideas. When it comes to applying the understanding, it not only talks about the actual application of knowledge in the domain-specific area, but it also talks about giving it a critical perspective, a creative angle, or a more practical and functional approach to look at. It talks about significant experiences in learning, which with the help of exercises like group projects or field studies, interactive role plays. These are ways in which the student gets opportunities to develop both the hard and soft skills, which play an important role in professional settings. So Interdisciplinary approach bases more on the taxonomy of significant learning than on the Bloom's taxonomy. It is more comprehensive and expansive in nature and applies more if the teacher looks at if the question from the teacher's mind is, what would I like the impact of my course to be on my student 2 or 3 years after the course is over? So if you look at the long run, if you give it a long-term goal, your teaching has a long-term goal, a long-term impact, then we should look at opportunities of making this learning significant. We should give our students ways in which they can apply their minds in different possible ways to make it a lifelong experience for themselves. So it's all about going beyond understanding and remembering. Let us look at the four levels of integration that we need to understand while we understand more about interdisciplinary. We are very well aware of what disciplinary teaching is like. It is about each discipline that goes separately in the class. It is taught in silos. Multidisciplinary is when a topic is dealt with by in different angles, but the aim is again solely to consider that topic in a particular angle, considering opinions of everybody, but again making the learning theme based. When you take it a little higher at the level of interdisciplinary, it brings in integration, where you can very well read students learn concepts and skills from 2 or more disciplines, and these together blend or integrate to bring up more solutions towards their learning. The last level that talks about the highest level of integration is transdisciplinary, which is like dealing with real world problems, and there none of the disciplines actually shows up individually. It's a blend of all the disciplines working towards solving problems or thinking critically to come out with some social or community benefit. Let us understand this more in a form of a figurative slide. Here you can see the 3 separate disciplines taught separately. Multidisciplinary has all the 3 disciplines, but they're connected in a way because you invite opinions. Interdisciplinary, you can see an integration of the 3 disciplines, for example, and transdisciplinary shows a blend of all the 3 disciplines towards a single aim. So this is how the levels of integration go up while you decide to take up an approach in your teaching. This is an example here. For example, you choose a theme, and in a multidisciplinary approach, you may look at the theme from so many different perspectives. Every perspective is important. For example, let's again talk about climate change. So what does science talk about climate change? How can you reflect the understanding about climate change through drama? What does geography talk about it? What does it? How does it impact physical education, math, design and technology, history, music, English, anything under the sky? How is their opinion about the given theme? Is what is multidisciplinary approach. On the other hand, what is interdisciplinary? When all these concepts work together to bring in a common understanding, to realize a common issue, and to work upon them together. So you join hands to work together for a solution. That is called an interdisciplinary approach. Okay, now going ahead, before I take this forward, I would like to also share at this point that while we are talking about this, in my university, there's the Symbiosis Skills and Professional University, we cater to all schools of under the university, which bring in management schools as well as engineering schools and health and wellness and beauty. All these schools are schools that we cater to as a part of the School of Interdisciplinary Science, and we try to bring in concepts like group projects and journaling and reflecting upon learning and on self, role plays and sectoral analysis, which we try to bring in this interdisciplinary understanding amongst our students. And we can see how it's quite a successful exercise trying to broaden their perspectives and encouraging them to bring in new thought into the language classroom. What are the characteristics of interdisciplinary learning? Well, we've already talked about it, that it is a blend of 2 or more disciplines. It is correlating disciplines for a common goal. It is bringing in different aspects, while we are talking about bringing in disciplines, we are also talking about collaborating. We are also talking about respecting different perspectives, opining. So we can bring in a lot of language perspective from basic level proficiency to high level proficiency of language, along with these life skills like collaborative thinking, critical thinking, analytical thinking, competencies, which can build in our perspective towards engaging in communication patterns. Okay. While any teacher should consider, I think, this acronym while planning her class. It's a beautiful acronym that I landed upon, CREATE, which talks about collaboration. That means we are talking about collaboration not only amongst teachers and learners, before which we start collaborating with the policymakers, because they are the ones who will help us implement our ideas successfully in our classes. Relevance of teaching and reading materials and pedagogy. Evident and scientific learning procedures. A stands for alignment of pedagogy with plans, tasks, and materials. Teachers with learners and learning outcomes. Transparency the T stands for transparency, and the E for the empowerment of teachers, learners, and community. I think all of us always would consider CREATE as one important way of planning our classes. Now let us look at how to look at a classroom, interdisciplinary classroom. Again, let me share with you a video. I hope, may I request Kavin to play the video, please? I'll stop sharing. Kavin, are you there?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Can
ma'am.
you just take this link and play it for us? Just to save on time. Should I stop sharing?
Is it visible now, ma'am?
Career Academy and Lewicki Education Consulting came together for 8 days to redesign the Academy's pedagogy.
Make it full screen, Kavin.
The result, a generative design they coined the Interdisciplinary Learning Collaborative, or for short, ILC. Now in 2012, 9 Wisconsin high schools, along with Appleton Career Academy, are implementing the ILC design. To explain the ILC, it may be easiest to imagine you are starting a school that is going to adopt it. The first thing you have to do is wipe the schedule clean.
The video is not playing.
Instead of a series of one-subject, semester-long classes, insert many 4-week seminars, 2-week workshops, and even student-designed projects.
Please pause it, Kavin.
There can also be opportunities for students to learn in the community through internships or service.
Kavin, can you pause
So
the
rather
video,
than
please?
looking like this, a student schedule may look more like
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, just pause for a minute. I would like to bring, draw the attention of the participants here to the format, and the video got stuck at an important point, actually. Yeah. So if you look at the typical semester plan, it looks like this. And what this school is suggesting with the help of interdisciplinary learning collaborative is something very different. So I want to just tell everybody that it is not always possible to bring in the ideas that this video suggests. But if we want to give it a try, we can always work in hand in hand with our management and our co-teachers and bring out a different kind of a design for some parts of our syllabus. So this is just an idea before you go ahead watching the video further. It's slightly long video, but a very important and effective one. So please bear with me for the long, length of the video, but I think it's useful. Kavin, please continue.
This. Or this.
The audio.
The schedule depends on how the faculty design and facilitate learning opportunities, connecting students to a wide range of rigorous academic learning targets. What remains consistent is the ability to create a customized, flexible schedule that allows for an interdisciplinary.
So the video is not playing, Kavin. It's got stuck. Can you just play it again? Because the audio also is not clear. Or should I try to share it? Let me give it a try. Um, mhm. No, no, I can't. I don't know why it's not playing. I'm so sorry for the inconvenience. Kavin, can you please help me play the video?
Just a minute, ma'am. Is the screen visible, ma'am?
It's not yet. I don't know that it was getting stuck in between and the audio also had problems. Just try it again, please. It's actually a wonderful
Now?
video.
Can you confirm?
I think it's
Can
playing.
you confirm
Give me a
the
minute.
screen is visible?
Design and facilitate the learning opportunities, connecting students to a wide range of rigorous academic learning targets. What remains consistent
No,
is the ability to create a customized, flexible schedule that allows
no,
for
no.
an interdisciplinary, collaborative,
No,
and
Kavin.
generative learning community.
Ma'am, it's sharing for everyone.
No, just stop sharing, please.
Okay, ma'am.
I'll go back to my presentation. Just stop sharing. Please stop sharing. You need to stop sharing, Kavin. I don't know. Kavin, are you there? Okay.
Ma'am, PPT is visible. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So basically, while the intention behind showing that video to you was, it was talking about how to plan a class for interdisciplinary, how to plan an interdisciplinary class. So it talks about changing the format of our teaching in from a traditional class setting to a very different format. So the video talked about, not having a science and a history and a math and a social studies class separately. Rather, take up an issue in a classroom for a week, and then bring in all the aspects of interdisciplinary aspects into the class, along with the language aspect also, and work upon it. So it's a very broad perspective that those schools tried and were successful in implementing. But for a traditional classroom, what we can do, or what we need to do for an interdisciplinary class, is a lot of planning. So we talk about pre-instructional planning, which is first of all selecting the subject, talking about the focus of the subject, talking with the teacher of the other discipline, bringing in her perspectives, putting in our ideas together, and then planning the lesson very well. One important step that this methodology suggests is that we should share our idea with the students first. So the student should not be unaware of what is coming into the class. They should know that they're going to learn science or math with the language, and what kind of applications can come in the classroom is something that we should make the students aware, and then encourage them to think in an interdisciplinary fashion. So apart from other than the regular planning of our lessons, to bring in an interdisciplinary element, we need to plan it a little differently. That is the crux of the video. I really hope you all can copy this link and watch the video later. I'm sorry I couldn't play it now. Okay, the next slide. Okay. Can you see the slide, the next one, team teaching?
No, ma'am.
Hello? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you. So now I'm talking about team teaching as one of the approaches in interdisciplinary teaching, which means a language teacher can join hands with another discipline teacher. They can together work by bringing in collaboration and cooperation and planning the lesson together to make the class more interactive and encourage more thought processes, thinking skills into the class. So sharing of responsibilities might lessen the burden, but it will make it very interesting because the language teacher brings in her thinking, the domain specific teacher brings in her expertise, and together they plan tasks so that the children are made to think more, think beyond a concept, and think more about the functional and application based functionality of the concept that is coming into the class. So team teaching is an interdisciplinary approach. Planning in team but instruction by one also can be a method, or co-teaching also could be a method. So it is upon the teachers to decide how to go about in this team teaching approach. Simultaneously, even if you teach, you can encourage a lot of thinking and interaction in the class, and the class will really come out very differently. Meanwhile, let us again try to have one more video with the help of Kavin. Kavin, let's give it a try, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. I'm so sorry to trouble you.
No problem. Confirm whether the screen is visible.
I hope this runs well. Yeah, just play it with the full screen.
I'm back again with another video message. As I said last time, we're now going to take a deep dive into what we're doing at Baldwin through the lens of our divisions to give you an idea of what's going on behind the scenes. This month, I'm going to talk about the middle school. Studies show that one of the best ways to prepare our girls for the world around them is through interdisciplinary learning. Interdisciplinary learning is when our girls are taught to apply information from across subjects to solve complex problems. Learning in a single discipline and sticking with it won't work for today's students, who are entering a fast-paced, ever-changing, globally connected world. Preparing our students for tomorrow requires breaking down the silos that have historically existed between disciplines. It's what I see when I walk into French class and see our French teachers teaming up with the Dream Lab to teach our girls about French history and the language by building French castles from the Loire Valley, connecting with math, art, architecture, and design, and of course French too, to understand the subject matter at hand. It's what you see when you walk into English class and see our girls studying Romeo and Juliet, and then designing the stage on which the play will be performed, understanding the production through the physicality of the set itself, making the connections across discipline, using design and construction to understand what they're learning. This interdisciplinary approach is also what underpins the 3-day mini week that our middle school girls are so excited about. Before spring break, they'll engage in workshops designed by teachers who pair from different disciplines, teaching the girls things like wellness and health by having them do aerial yoga. One of my favorite examples is when the girls will study environmental science by photographing the nature and wilderness around them, understanding what they see through the lens of artists and scientists and mathematicians too. Our approach to interdisciplinary education is why I'm so confident that Baldwin's middle school girls will go on to come up with the creative solutions we need to solve the world's most complicated problems.
That's it. Thank you. Thank you. You can stop sharing. Okay. Can you see the slide?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so this short video also talked about how we can bring in so many aspects while teaching. It talked about a French class and an English class, and how the teachers brought in a lot of perspectives into the class and made the learning more interesting. At the end of the class, we can see that the result is more functional. They can apply the language that they have learned. Most of the times when we teach English in our classes, we are worried about the application. We see that the students still fumble while they want to converse or communicate in the target language. And probably when they get this opportunity of applying their minds beyond language structures and trying to communicate, probably interdisciplinary approach might help in giving them the confidence to go ahead with the trial and error and build their linguistic abilities as well as their domain competencies. Okay. Now, moving on to the next slide. So we can very well understand from all the discussion so far and the presentation of videos so far that the benefits of interdisciplinary approach are quite a lot. Of course, it requires a lot of planning and preparation, but it gives us as teachers, it gives us a lot of opportunity to explore our own thinking processes. It gives us an opportunity to have an accommodating approach towards, another discipline like science or math or environmental studies. And then, of course, it teaches the students also to respect others' perspectives, to accept another view, to look at a particular subject through different alternative views, and then have better outcomes of learning so far as domain-specific knowledge is concerned, and of course, language learning is concerned. So it talks about a multidimensional approach altogether. Okay. Let us look at the 4 aspects of interdisciplinary learning. This learning talks about 4 aspects, which are communication, interaction, orientation, and blending. Once again, you all can use this slide to understand more, but it really encourages a lot of interaction. Otherwise, a classroom scenario is when a teacher talks and the students listen. So this is not only for a language class, which is generally a bubbly class with a lot of interaction happening, with good teachers like you. But if you join hands with some domain, other discipline, maybe you all can bring in a lot of more learning to the student while you are doing your class. Okay. Then again, finally, when we're talking about the benefits of interdisciplinary learning, I think personally that these classes are really very engaging, and they come out with a lot of more uh, outcomes. So this is from my side. I thank you for giving a patient ear to my sharing, and I am open for questions or interaction if any. You all can put your questions and opinions in the chat box so that we can have a nice discussion. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for that lovely presentation. Today, we really need interdisciplinary learning and teaching, because as teachers, we should be aware of what our students want or want to learn from us, because our students are more proactive than us. And so we have to really be very fast and cater to the needs of the present generation of students. And your
True.
approach to interdisciplinary learning and teaching has really opened new vistas of knowledge on the 21st century skills which you have mentioned. What we really need to learn, unlearn, and relearn, in the 21st century. And not just that, you've also spoken about awareness building, thinking skills, and the way interdisciplinary teaching helps to relate our educational experiences to the real life, what we are really doing today. And this kind of a thinking goes beyond a particular discipline. For example, if I'm a student of literature, as you have explained, and if I have to read about environmental studies in literature, I need to get into various, other domains and various areas of knowledge and understand how this really helps. And ma'am has also explained about the disciplinary, interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary, and transdisciplinary, areas, and how they are significantly different from each other. She has also given us a beautiful acronym called CREATE in order to show us how this really works in our classroom. And it fosters significant learning because we need to have the foundational knowledge, we need to have the caring, and interaction with the peer group and the society. So this can happen through our domain knowledge, soft skills, interactive role plays, and also, with the general public. So this webinar has really helped us to look at a very different perspective in teaching and learning practices today. I hope this will really help our teacher educators and also research scholars and students who have watched this webinar today. And I really hope our enlightened audience will, ask a few questions. Your suggestions, your questions, and your interaction will be welcome. So let us start with our questions, ma'am.
Yes.
The first question is the term pedagogy used to refer to under 18 students alone, or above 18 students, we have another term.
I don't think it is applicable to any particular age group. It's a teaching methodology, approach, pedagogy is a combination of all this, applicable to all age groups.
Ma'am, another question is, how does ICT tools help in teaching language in interdisciplinary activity?
Oh well, like I told you, if you are planning a class for interdisciplinary with the interdisciplinary approach, it depends on what topic you are. For example, ma'am just mentioned teaching of literature in an interdisciplinary way, and it just struck me that if I'm teaching daffodils, okay. So if the poem is daffodils, but I want to bring in environment, I want to bring in pollination, I want to bring in how things are, how these daffodils spread across miles and miles of land. What is the science behind the growth of these flowers? So you can bring in videos of that kind. So you build in not only the beauty of daffodils in the student's mind, but you also give him knowledge about how these daffodils grow, what season they, bloom, in which countries do they bloom, what are the other varieties which you find in our countries. So, you can bring in a lot of audio visuals which are available at large on YouTube. You can ask your students to gather that kind of information and present in the form of PPTs, in the form of videos, in the form of, you go to a location and shoot. You can take them to forts and hills, where you have Indian daffodils blooming around, and, you can bring that into the class. So ICT, I mean, no bounds. You can create a lot.
Yeah.
with ICT.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. We'll move on to the next question.
Yeah.
Dr. Vinod Chopra has asked, when we are studying partition literature, we bring in history of freedom movement and causes of partition. What type of approach will it be?
Again, sir, you can bring in history, you can bring in sociology, you can bring in civilization.
I think it is a historical approach, ma'am.
It is, but when we say interdisciplinary, you have to bring in all the aspects that it makes history, no?
Yes.
You're talking
Yes.
about history. History is a result of some incidents in that period. So what are the influences that created that history? You can touch upon those aspects and make it interdisciplinary. I
Yeah,
hope
if
I've
we
answered
talk
the question.
about, yes, ma'am, adding to your answer, if we talk about the economics of partition and then, the other aspects like the geographical aspects of partition and all that, that makes interdisciplinary.
Very true.
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am. Next question is by Ruth Phillip. Would you give a practical example of interdisciplinary approach of language teaching with integration of feedback and assessment elements?
Of course. Now, feedback is an important aspect in every teaching approach, any methodology that you select to, apply in your classroom. Likewise, even interdisciplinary, you can, when you experiment, you can always ask for feedback of your students. And assessment, I think continuous assessment would be more useful, because when the student applies his knowledge, his thinking to a given plan, a lesson plan, you can have checkpoints where you assess his learning, assess his thinking and collaborative. And maybe, I think when you're planning, you can decide in advance that the student will be assessed on these parameters. Because every interdisciplinary class can have different parameters of assessment. Sometimes it is group work, sometimes it is some kind of a survey that the student needs to do, some kind of research. So every time you may decide your assessment patterns and tell the students in advance that you will be assessed on these grounds. And then, of course, when you are clear about what outcomes you expect and what the student should perform, I think both assessment and feedback would be a very fruitful exercise.
Thank you, ma'am. Rajni Kumari has asked, ma'am, kindly suggest me the names of the books for teaching learning in the English language at primary level.
I will come back to you with this. I can share it with the ELTAI members and they'll send it to you. Offhand, I don't have the references.
Shweta Dubey has asked this question. What is the reason for developing the IDU?
Reason?
Yeah.
Okay, there is you mean the interdisciplinary approach, right?
Yes.
Well, see, when you decide to experiment, I mean, see, a teacher needs to experiment, is my honest opinion. I should not go in the class with one traditional way of interacting with my students. I should take up different styles of teaching. So sometimes I can take a task-based approach. Sometimes I use audio-visual. Sometimes I go in for a project-based learning, group projects. Likewise, I can select interdisciplinary because it is the need of the day. Interdisciplinary awareness. If you observe your students, you will very well agree with me that students nowadays are not used to opening themselves to more learning. They are more aware, okay? They are more aware than the traditional concept of what students you can imagine. They are more aware. But translating their awareness into learning is something that I think interdisciplinary approach would open. And that is why we should use ITU.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much for your suggestions and also the answers to these questions. Thank you very much, audience. We have very enlightened audience who have given the right questions. And I hope this session was very fruitful to all of you. I really thank Dr. Vaishali Jundre for her beautiful interactive audio-visual webinar, along with the wonderful insights we have got on IDL. Thank you, ma'am.
Before I say a thank you, I would like to appreciate the responses that I can see in the chat box. I'm sorry I could not address all the questions and queries that have come up, but Dr. Usha has picked up a lot of questions and I thank her for moderating it so wonderfully. And before she says a thank you, let me thank her and the entire ELTAI team to give me this opportunity to present my thoughts before. Thank you so much, Dr. Usha.
So please fill up the feedback form before exiting from the group, and over to Dr. Bonani.
Yes. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. As Vaishali ma'am has rightly quoted, language is an all-encompassing phenomena. So we were all mesmerized. Thank you, Dr. Vaishali Jundre, madam, for your extremely interesting and incredibly engaging and thought-provoking session. The ideas that you shared with us were very interesting and enriching. I personally feel very privileged and very lucky to be on this webinar and to have listened to you. It was absolutely a learning experience. On behalf of ELTAI and all our participants, we thank you, Vaishali ma'am, for conducting such an interesting and inspiring session. And your knowledge has been truly invaluable for each of us. I thank Dr. Usha ma'am for moderating the session and offering your expert remarks. I also thank you heartily for summarizing the session and handling the question and answers so well with your expertise. Well, behind the scenes, there's a dedicated team that works tirelessly to ensure the success of ELTAI webinars. A special thank you to the organizing team for their hard work and commitment to promoting excellence in English language teaching. And last but certainly not the least, a heartfelt gratitude to all our participants who have joined from all over the globe, from Canada, the Philippines, Malaysia, Oman, and of course, all corners of India. I could see the northeastern part of India joining in, from Assam, from Meghalaya, from Mizoram, from Manipur. And it was absolutely interesting to see so many people coming together. There's a participant from Canada who has said in the chat box that it's 6:50 in a.m. when she joined. So that takes a lot of dedication. All right. So yes, again, a reminder to everyone, please do not forget to fill up the feedback form. And also, again, I'm sharing the information with you that certificates will be issued only to school, UG and PG students, ELTAI members, and foreign nationals. Ladies and gentlemen, before I wrap up, a few more announcements. Please mark your calendars. I'm sure the poster is visible on your screens. Please mark your calendars and save the date for our next insightful ELTAI webinar. It is on Sunday, the 28th of July, 2024. We have a captivating session planned for you on the topic, Doing Literature Review in Qualitative Research. Dr. Bharat Mupane from Kathmandu, Nepal, from Kathmandu University, Nepal, is going to deliver this talk. So registration details and additional information about this exciting webinar are available in the chat box and will also be available on our website. Be sure to visit our website and keep an eye out for updates so that you can secure your spot for this enriching experience. We also have the poster here, as you can see, for our upcoming conference, the 18th International and 54th Annual Conference of ELTAI, on the topic Exploring Languages and Literatures for Evolving Pedagogical Practices. You can visit our website and register for the same. And always remember, dear participants, that your participation is not only encouraged, but it is absolutely essential to the success of our webinars. So let's continue our journey of professional development together. And I guess now it's time for a group photograph. I request everyone to switch their videos on. Let us join with smiles on our faces to express how happy and joyous we are regarding this enriching experience we've just had. Everyone, kindly switch on your videos. Okay, are we done?
Thank you.
Okay. With this, I, Bonani Chakraborty, take your leave. Jai Hind, and wish you all a wonderful evening ahead. Thank you, everyone, once again.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.